It's firing up. And we are live, everybody, back on the airwaves. How y'all doing? All right, let's see. Nobody in yet. There we go. A couple people coming in. Welcome to the show. Got James Jones back for an encore presentation here, back by popular demand. Let me chit chat here for a little bit here. Usually takes people a few minutes to get on. So waiting for the boat to get out of the shop. Yeah, Jerry is too. Everybody's at last minute getting the boats ready. And, no one I know has been down to Rend yet.
Yeah, I had a little nick in the front of the boat early last year, and it got into the fiberglass. And it wasn't big. It was probably about the size of a nickel. But it's taken this. He's been pretty busy down there at CNO, and he does a fantastic job on fiberglass. So it's taken a little while to get down there, and I had a little chunk taken out of the skag from Kentucky Lake. He got me last year, so getting it all done before the season starts. So
yeah, I had that last year too. Last day fishing, it was like the first week of November or something, and it was getting really windy, but I was catching them. You know what I mean? And I got like a 4-pounder on, and I didn't realize the wind was blowing me back to where someone had an old dock pole in, and it was kind of hidden under the water. And usually it's not a problem, but just situations, and I just hear it, and I'm like, oh no. And I get in, and right under where the water intake is on the back of the hull, right on the bottom, little quarter size piece, boom, $1,200. Bye-bye.
yeah. It I had that, and then it was time for the water propeller to be changed. So
Oh, you getting a new prop too?
no, the water pump propeller that's down in the lower end is supposed to change every 2 years.
Yeah.
So,
Mine's going on 3, and he's like, do you notice any problems yet? How many hours he got on it? He's like, just keep an eye on it. I'm like, I read every 2, and he's like, well, you can, but you don't have to. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep a close eye on it this year.
Yeah, as I just went ahead and had it done that way. I didn't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, talk about rain. Yeah, we got a bunch of rain during the week. My little lake was up over pool, not crazy or anything, but very high. Lots of warm water coming in. Concerning all the cold water we have, it's typically 45, 46, 48 at this time of year. I get there, I put in, it was 59. Well, okay, that was in a shallow by the boat ramp. Late Friday afternoon, it was up to like 83 degrees, and then the main lake was like 52, 53 on the bottom end where all the water sits, But by Sunday, the north side was up at 57, coming in. And I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe it's that far along.
I see you survived the storms last night.
Yeah, when we were coming home from Pana driving on 70, we hit some major rain, and then it started hailing. I'm like, oh shit, new truck. Oh man. It was just small ones, but it didn't get big. But south of us, they got some really big hail, some really bad hail.
Yeah, we had I guess they would call it just a rotation by the house last night. I could hear it. People say it sounds like a freight train. Well, when it's up in the air, it didn't sound like a freight train. It just sounded like a C-130 flying over just about treetop high.
Wow.
And the last, I don't know, a month ago when we had high winds and stuff, I heard the same thing. And but yeah, and luckily, fortunate enough, we didn't have any touchdowns around the area in Clarksville and that area. We didn't have any touchdowns. So thankfully, I'm hoping anybody got, the storms last night, that they're all safe and good. But yeah, that was a long one too. I mean, this stretched from way up north to south.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That one we had 3 weeks ago, that went, we had all kind around St. Louis. I'm looking out west and seeing nothing. We're in the basement hiding in the main basement area, but if it gets really bad, we'll go into the bathroom. And I was looking, it went on the other side of the house by like a mile. It wasn't touched down, but it touched down south of us and it touched down north of us. So, wow. Yeah, that you don't mess with that stuff.
No.
Yeah. So, well, spring, always get these crazy storms in spring.
And I missed a week that you had Eric on.
Oh yeah.
But I did end up watching it today. I watched it this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have been in Ozarks on the 29th. Yeah, they had a tournament. I forgot to check in. I think that was Lake of the Ozarks. Yeah. Hi, Brad. Yeah, I saw some posts on all the rain that's going to come down there. There's the Toyota series, which I'll be going to next week, and I won't have a live stream because I'll be like down there or on my way down there. It's weird for scheduling. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday is the third day. So that it's just kind of weird to be in the middle of the week, and then Rend will be on Saturday.
We're supposed to get 6 inches of rain starting between Wednesday and Sunday.
Yeah, I heard someone say 11 inches down there, and then someone saying, well, the rain we get right here isn't too bad. It's bad if it's south of us because that's the way that the water's coming in.
Yeah, see, that's the bad part about with us here, because Kentucky Lake and Barkley, we're at the very end of the Cumberland River and the Tennessee River. All those rivers start out east in Tennessee and go all the way down. Tennessee River goes down in Alabama, across Georgia, down in Alabama, and comes back across and then comes up. So not only what we get affects us, but what they get affects us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that till I started fishing these things. And a couple of years ago, or Paducah, and it's like, oh, the Ohio and the Tennessee's over here. I'm like, really? I never paid much attention, and then I looked it up and went, oh my God, it comes all the way down, goes all the way across straight down here and all the way back up and down to the Mississippi.
Yeah.
And then I saw this North American map, which shows basically all the rivers in the United States feed the Mississippi eventually. And I'm like, oh, it was a giant glacier in the old days. You should have thought about that, right?
Yeah. But the Kentucky Lake in Barkley is the only one that their river system actually flows south to north.
Right. I'm like, huh? I would have never thought that. It's opposite, but it follows geography, terrain, topology.
Yeah. So when I start looking to fish Kentucky Lake or even Barkley, I said, I hope that rain doesn't get here too quick. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, they got all the bunch of rain to the east of us. I said, and that affects us because once they get float, then they let out water, and then they, on down the line, and it feeds like us. And then depending on how the Ohio and the Mississippi are, if you get a bunch of weather up there and it's already raised those rivers, well, Barkley and Kentucky Lake's got to kind of hold back a little bit because they feed that, the Ohio. So
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep. Well, yeah. A bunch of rain is coming. I hope it's good for fishing here.
Me and Ron's supposed to pre-fish Rend this weekend, and I'm hoping that I don't mind rain. It's the thunderstorms and everything else.
I'm not cool with lightning.
Yeah, and then having to drive that far.
Yeah. How far of a drive is it for you?
It's really not that bad. It's about hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours.
Yeah, that's about how. Yeah. Now they're launching differently. They're not at South
Yeah,
Sandusky. We kind of talked
yeah,
about it. They're
they're a
over on the
gun.
other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a gun, which that ramp's okay. I mean, it's plenty of parking up there. It's you can still only launch 2 boats at a time. You may be able to get 4 if you have people down there directing. If they
Yeah.
ain't got nobody down there directing, it'll be 2 boats
Yeah.
at a time
Yeah. Yeah.
and one small dock.
Oh, yeah. The courtesy dock problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We should remind people's co-anglers or whatever. Just shuttle people out. Take 4 or 5 people on the boat, shuttle them out. It's way easier, and
oh
it's
yeah,
amazing how much better it works.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, sorry to hear, Eric. I meant to look at the update here. I was driving around and in and out of town. I moved my one daughter down to um, Rogers, Bentonville, Arkansas. She had a job, and that was the other weekend. And I was working on my boat, trying to get it ready and everything. I wonder what's. I didn't look at the weights or anything here. If you got any feedback, that'd be interesting here. Um, Before we get too far into the show in Rend Lake, well, we'll probably spend most of our time. I just was kind of sitting here watching some of the videos going around here, and in the last 2 weeks we've missed the Bassmaster Classic and a lot of interesting topics and conversation on that. I just wanted to get your guys' kind of pulse on that. The high points and low points. And I guess I wasn't, I was so busy the last week, I wasn't paying attention to a lot of social media. I guess there's a lot of blowback on not. It was first on, Bassmaster and the event, and then it was, I guess a lot of people having bad attitudes with younger anglers and or technology. So I try to stay away from the controversy and just talk about our little domain here. But I thought there's just a lot of stuff going on here. I just, get your thoughts, James, to start.
The younger generation, they're they're good. I mean, and to me, they earned their way there. I mean, it's not like they just because on the Elite Series, you have to qualify and move up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think that they need to look to, make more room on the Elite Series? I think they could, instead of having the 75 or 80 people, what they got it at now, make it at 100 like they used to.
Yeah.
They used to have the top 125s. I had 125, in there. And that's just because the sport has grown so big. I think they need to up that number to allow these younger anglers that are working their way up and qualifying, and the older generation could still be able to maintain and stay within the Elite Series. But right now, if you are in that bottom almost 20%, you're not guaranteed to come back. You have to fish your way back in. You have to go back down, fish the opens, and then get in the top 6 or 8, whatever it is, to get back into the Elite Series. And the older guys are finding that it's a little harder than what they expected because of all the younger guns that are out there fishing. And the new technology, I mean, that's just it. I mean, them guys are fishing by themselves. If you can't do it, then that's with you. But one of the great guys that I like that's fishing on there doesn't even have it on his boat, and that's John Cox.
Yeah.
Yep. You take a guy that doesn't do that, and he seems to still fish. He commented in the Classic that he had to go out and fish deep water. His deep water was 8 feet.
Yeah, deep water.
Yeah. And so, and he made it to, qualified for the Classic, and he stayed, up there in that percentage to fish the Elite Series every year. So, to me, there's no, if you can't hang, and you kind of losing it, well, I'm sorry. I mean, that's just like with anything. Either that or bass is going to have to up their numbers up to, that 100, people, and then they wouldn't have to worry about it as much. But that's my thought on it. I mean, and technology is here to stay. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and it's the rules. They got rules. BPT's got some different rules. BFL's got different rules. NPFL, they've got their band. A lot of people went over there. Hey.
Yeah, and the one rule that they've really, really tightened down on, which has gotten too ridiculous, is the no information rule.
Well, that one is unenforceable. That's a stupid rule because it's
now if the guy is going out and getting paying for information or going and saying, hey, where's this, actually asking for the information, or then that's a different story. But doc talk, I mean, that's always going around. Yeah. You go anywhere, you go into any sporting goods, there's going to be talk. And I don't listen to talk anyways. Because to me, a bass fisherman, if his lips are moving, he's probably lying.
Talk is cheap. Is it worse or better than a lawyer, huh? When his lips are moving, or a politician?
Yeah. So, I mean, if a guy is going to listen to and take that information from Doc Talk, and that's the only thing he's got to go on, he's going to have a tough day anyways.
Oh, yeah. And I don't care if you heard Doc talk about where they caught him this morning. You go out this afternoon, it could be totally different.
Oh, yeah. Or what he caught him on last week, because the weather's going to be different. The fish move, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
You can find them today, and they could be 20 yards up the bank. They could be shallow, or they could be deeper. Who knows this time of year because of the weather and the temperature and,
Yeah. In the hot summer months, it's a different story. And in the pure winter, they're kind of where they are. But anything in between,
Yeah. So I think that rule needs to be changed to, if you get information as far as you pay or literally ask for information, then yes, you're breaking the rule. I can see that. But as far as Doc Talk, somebody coming up and two guys talking and one guy, you just happen to walk up, whoa. Come on. Because it really doesn't matter.
Some people say there's more to that story, but it happens all the time. People just start talking to you. You're a celebrity,
Well, yeah. And to me, if I'm supposed to be a pro, I ain't going to listen to the guys anyways. Now, if I'm out there pre-fishing and I'm having a tough day on day 3 and tomorrow, the next day of the tournament, hey, let me go check out, they said this was going on. Let me go check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, I mean, it's still I wouldn't want to trust anybody, what anybody said.
Well, right. And it's just like, I forgot whose podcast I saw this from. I can't catch your fish, and you probably won't be catching my fish. We're all different. On top of that, right?
Yep. That's going back to where I said, last time I was on here, I'm not afraid to fish behind anybody because they're not fishing the same thing I am, and if they are, they're not fishing it the exact same way that I'm going to fish it.
Right.
So,
right.
Now, if they're throwing a crankbait and they're just throwing it out there and reeling it back in and they're tearing them up, talk ain't going to worry about it because that's what everybody's going to be doing.
Well, yeah.
If it's that easy.
Yeah. You hop on the bandwagon when it's rolling, baby.
Yeah. But, fishing's not that way.
Right.
And especially, and I don't know. I think they nitpick a little bit too much on some stuff.
Yeah. What about the televised stuff here? I know myself, I think Bass Track goes too far. There's no element of suspense later on in the day. And it's just like the weigh-ins took forever and they didn't start till late. And I guess they had to drive an hour. And the weigh-ins
Yeah.
went for 3 hours. That was just crazy. And some of the telecasts, all the extra people and stupid stuff they had going on, man, they're missing the track.
And yeah, I mean, I get it that they want to try to cover everything, at once, because not only did they have the classic going on, they basically had the kayak classic going on. They had the high school classic going on. So before the weigh-in, they had the weigh-ins for them. Well, yeah, they kind of had time because it did take them an hour to go from where they took off to where it's at. But that's not any different than any other classic.
Yeah.
I mean, in Knoxville, they still had to drive almost 40 minutes.
Yep. Conroe too. Yeah.
And look when they fished Gunnersville. That one time they put all the way up there by Goose Pond, and they was actually down in Gunnersville, past Gunnersville. They had an hour and a half drive then.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that part of it, hey, it is what it is. I mean, if that's because they got to get a place big enough to fit as many people as they can get in there.
Yeah.
And they don't lose fish. They're good at keeping care of the fish and everything. So that, if people's in a big hurry to figure out what's going on, go to it live.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've been watching them for so long, for so many years, that I know that once it goes off, as far as the live goes, I've probably got 30 to 40 minutes at least before it even comes back on. Sometimes it's more, but I know. And as far as Bass Track, some of them can be close, but they're all guesstimate. Because, I mean, if you look at Trey, he would turn around and look, and he'd come around there, and the guy say, well, what'd that weigh? It was 4-pounder. Well, I can guarantee you that was the biggest fish in pool.
Yeah.
And them guys know. I mean, instead of saying exactly, oh, this is 5.26, it's, well, this is a 4 3/4.
Yeah.
So and the scale and their handheld scale is going to be different than what the scale is at the actual weigh-in.
Right.
So as far as trying to say, well, kind of blow it out, well, you kind of get an idea who won, but until weigh-in, you really don't know, especially if it's close.
If it's close, it's But if
if a guy's already 10 pounds, 15 pounds ahead going into the last day, unless the guy there has made up that, well, yeah, you already know who won when it comes in.
I just saw this from Brad here. Thank you for talking to a family member. That's not the video I saw online, and then there was some controversy. So, there's more to the story. According to Brad here, got Geety talking to a fan. Yeah, I saw his video. He said he was like getting gas or something, and they just came up and started talking to him.
He was actually at the boat dealership working on his boat when two guys came in there and was talking. And he stopped the first two, but he got working and wasn't paying any attention, and then got up, and kind of started in the conversation and said, hey, after the fact, and says, hey, I'm not allowed to do that. And then he's the one that turned himself in, said, hey, this is what happened,
Yeah.
So now if he actually was talking to a family member about that, now that's a different story. Because, his dad and, they're all both big sticks, especially down there, anywhere in Florida.
Well, the stupid thing is, though, he knows the lake probably better than anybody. If there's anybody that doesn't need information, it's him. Yeah. Interesting stuff here. All right, back to Eric here. 13 pounds to win the coast side, got 6 pounds to get a check. Okay, they must have been biting a little bit better. that Toyota there at 37, 38 degrees was no fun. But yeah, some people still caught them here. Matt, shorts. Yeah, okay. I heard Randy talk about catching a lot of shorts. Yeah, my lake, I was catching a bunch of shorts this weekend. It seems how it get always, that's how it always starts. The little dumb ones come in and start feeding first. It's a sign of things to come, right? Oh, let's see here. That. Brian, welcome, Brian. 8th place, congratulations. Burhorst, yeah, I've seen that name before. So, how much weight did you have to get in 8th place here? How'd you catch him? I think we were parked next to you. Oh, Marcus Sequoia. Yeah, that's a pretty good name. Yeah, boy. That's why we do this stuff, Eric. I mean, just to watch Drew fish, even though he didn't do that well, and talking to him about kind of, what he's doing, what's going through his mind, the way he, approaches stuff. A lot of things I find out is kind of like timing, when to stay, when to go, when to switch up, how you're reading what's going on. A lot of those almost nonverbal things, even things they're not talking about, but you're just observing what they're doing or looking over at the live scope when you can, right? And kind of getting an idea. And if he's switching stuff up and, oh, I see you're switching to that, what made you think to do that? Or, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And a lot of it's from past, if he's been on that lake before, and especially pre-fishing and pre-fishing. Pre-fishing's a big thing. I mean, if you was in, you get back in the cove, and especially in the springtime, you get back in the creek and you catching fish at the mouth of the creek and it's warming up, the only place they're going is farther back.
Yep.
So you just got to be patient, find them, and, keep on grinding because, at the end, a lot of people try to go out there and catch, have 25, 30, 40 bites when at the end you only need 5 bites.
Yep. Are you fishing to just get a limit? Or are you fishing to get a check? Are you fishing to win?
Well, and even a lot of them, they say, if I can get 5, because the big one, especially when you got pre-spawn and spawned and post-spawn, you're looking at, more than likely having, a lot of the bigger females.
Yeah.
So, and that's when they're saying, if I can get the 5 right bites, or if I can get 10 bites where I can catch the male, and then I know the females are going to be around there somewhere. So if I can catch 5 of those females, and them's the only 5 bites I got a chance to win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like this weekend, I know, you got to kind of get out and ahead of them. I had some finesse baits on, and I had on a big old, well, not that big, but for a small 200-acre lake, nice big half-ounce big white spinner bait with a nice 4-inch white Zocco on it. And I threw that thing on Friday, nothing, not a bite. I threw that thing on Saturday, nothing, not a bite. Sunday, I'm coming up along some rocks. I see a shad bait ball. I throw into that, past the bait ball, and boom, 4.5 pounder. Like, that's why I threw that big spinner bait all weekend.
Yeah. So that's, the more you fish and the more you're around, the biggest thing I have, my problem is in the spring, is knowing exactly, trying to figure out exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Because they don't spawn, all of them don't spawn at the same time.
Right.
And so you still got some moving up, and fish start spawning at 50. If they feel that everything is good, everything is right, once that temperature stays at 50 and they know it probably ain't going to drop below that, there's a few of them that'll go up there and start spawning at 50. Yeah. But I don't go looking for fish on the beds. I'm just not that good at it. And I've never seen, never found a bunch of them. I might see one out of 3 days, on a bed. So I'm
Or
looking
you'll
for
just
that
see the little bug garden it or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking for that pre-spawn, post-spawn.
Yeah. Yeah. And they get finicky in the spawn too. You
Yeah.
gotta,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're
Big ones are starting to move in on Kentucky Lake. I would imagine you guys said it was up over 50 a few weeks ago for that Bassmaster Open too. So, and you had another tournament too. Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine they're primed, or I wouldn't doubt if some of the smallmouth are doing it already in a little bit deeper water. I mean, I wasn't that familiar, but last year they were saying, oh yeah, they're a little earlier and they do it in deeper water a lot if they can find the gravel.
Yeah. They're would have been good to go this past weekend. I don't know what it'd be like this weekend after this rain, and we was 80 degrees Sunday until that storm come through. Now we're at 40, 46, 47 degrees. So, that air temperature dropped, which is going to in turn, if it stays like this for a couple of days, it's going to drop the water temps too.
Yeah, I think it here in St. Louis, and I looked at it was like just the post front, and it's gonna kind of go back up. It's gonna be back in, 60s, high 60s here, next few days already.
Yeah, well, it better warm up down here because it was like 47 today down here, and then
I think it was 39 this morning here as a low.
and then that other front that's coming in is coming in Wednesday. If it comes in, Wednesday, then you're looking at Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, Saturday, and with that wind, unless it's warm rain, it's probably going to lower it even more. So yeah. these fish ain't going to know what to do.
Well, yeah, it seems like it happens every year. You're expecting them to spawn, and you get this little roller coaster of, in the 50s before it really just goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, welcome, Jerry. I know Jerry's kind of just participating today here covertly, shall we say. Yeah, short fish. Yeah, man, that lake's got a lot of big fish. So James, you gotta you're out here looking for some co-anglers. Let's before people move on, and we need to
I got a couple
few times here.
Couple of guys that fish all the time, and they're regular. I guess either not fishing or something, but yeah, they don't have a link for all 5 tournaments on the Illinois division. So if anybody knows a co-angler for the Illinois division that wants to hook up with a boater, I know they'd appreciate it. I talked to yesterday, and he was going to pass the message on to him to get on that Facebook page.
Right, that's the best clearinghouse that gets the most views. And ISJ come on and talk to people, or if you guys know people, or sometimes links drop at the last minute or something. So get on and socialize it. I think because we haven't had a tournament yet, boaters haven't realized priority. You got a link, and it's already past the priority date probably, and call in and call in a link now, but you can't online it. So yeah, people need to get going on that.
In the last 2 years, I went ahead and paid for, of course I always missed a tournament, but I'd get in the second, third, and fourth tournament and the fifth tournament. And when I paid for all 4, and I just called the director and said, hey, any co-anglers that, is looking for a link, if they want to link up, link us up. That way we're guaranteed. And before I know it, I'd get a text back and say, yeah, you're good to go. Yeah. But I think I think with everything that's going on, there's like, well, if they do this and if they can get more people over there onto that website, it kind of frees them up more. But
right.
And I think it's probably going to be tough this year. A lot of co-anglers are going to, I'm not going to fish, especially Illinois division.
Yeah,
I don't know about it. And, and then there's a lot of boaters that's also at the same time is kind of questioning on whether they're going to fish it. But what makes it bad is the ones that wants to fish it and go all the way to the regional and stuff. It's going to make it a little bit harder for them if they didn't already hook up.
Yeah.
Now the good thing of it is, unless the boater just gets somebody and pays their entry fee for a co-angler, it's going to help stop some of them jackpots.
Yeah. Well,
them saying, I'm not going to fish all of them, but hey, look at this. I'll fish one Shelbyville. And, hey, they're going on Kentucky Lake, so hey, I know I can draw a check down there, so I'll just wait to get in on it. Well, if they ain't got linked up with a co-angler, it's going to be hard for them to get in.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about how low the participation is going to be in Illini this year too. I was thinking about asking Robert Evans, but I was kind of afraid. and probably a lot of people are late getting to it, don't realize about the links or whatnot.
Yeah. I'm going to say and I'm probably going to be a little high, but I'm going to say probably about a 75 boat average on all five.
I was thinking, people like Rend Lake, it's the first tournament. Those are, usually more people until, they start doing bad. I mean, it was down to only 91 or 92 last year. I'm guessing maybe 80, about the same thing, even to start out with, and being a little earlier in the year. I don't know.
Yeah. And then, Shelbyville 2 times.
Yep.
And then there will probably be, because I know people will, if they know that they can do good, they'll pay that co-angler, hey, you want to fish? Hey, what you doing? Even though they're a boater, hey, what you doing next week?
Yeah.
I'll pay your entry fee. You be the co-angler and go in and fish as a co-angler, and I'm gonna go as a boater.
Well, yeah, I know last year at that Rend Super tournament, I heard a couple boaters had to, pay halfway or something because they lost their link, and they're like, hey, I'm in the running. I you know what I mean? You get in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. So,
I was talking to Chris Renfro.
Oh yeah, Brad.
4:15 in the morning up at the regional. He was just parked on the bank by us as we're like, this is crazy. We're going to get there super early. We got in ahead of the hour line. So what do? You sit in the boat at 4 a.m. and take a nap on the shore.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Chris is the one I was talking to because I asked him about, that. And he said, yeah, he says, I got linked up. He said, but Pat and Wayne didn't. He says, they're still looking.
The Odells?
The Odells. And so, I know Pat's got a lot going on because he's, the coach for the high school league, fishing league, and everything else. So, and I'm glad that Ron came along because I was sweating.
Yeah.
So, hopefully,
we're doing some good here. Linking some people up, teaching them some techniques, teaching them etiquette. That will happen at the Super in Kentucky. Jackpotters. Yeah, I think that was it happens all the time. And, we've gone that through gotten, real boaters that are in the invitationals or the Toyotas or whatever, coming in and fishing the BFLs. I mean, some people look as a pro and con. Yeah. there's the professionals and there's the weekend guys. I'm a weekend guy, right?
Well, yeah, and and I don't mind the open guys that are just opens, not the invitationals of the BPT that fishes the opens. I'm talking just the guys that are fishing the opens to be able to move up. I don't mind them fishing the BFL because anybody that's made a regional or in the top 45 actually can fish the opens. So, yeah, I can go and fish any of the opens. I don't mind that. But I can't go fish the regional. I mean,
Yeah.
invitationals, so they shouldn't be able to fish mine. Yeah. Jack
Yeah.
Potters be able to get points if they're all fit. Well, I mean, I just don't think that that one there is a catch-22. I mean, yeah, they shouldn't get points, but I mean, Jack Potters.
Well, they
They're
paid the
never going to
entry
stop.
fee.
They're not.
They fished. I mean,
Yeah, and
yeah,
and and you ain't going to stop them from fishing because all they're looking at is, hey, our quota is 200. If we can get 200 boats, pay out that maximum payouts. I don't care where they come from
right,
because they're all
right,
about that money. So
yeah, yeah. Jerry's like, they ain't fair for points. They're in it for the money. Yeah, they're
yeah,
gonna, yeah,
yeah,
just in.
they don't care for the points. They don't care about the points anyways.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
here, maybe back to maybe Rend Lake conditions here. I did. I don't keep track of Rend a lot, so just before we started here, I took a look at. Let's see here. How come the screen's not? Oh, I need to do this. Yeah, okay. So this is Rend Lake levels. It said 405 is full pool, and it has the 24 data here in green, the 23 data in red, and the blue is where it is right now. So it's showing 3.5 feet over pool right now.
yeah, and the thing is with that, it's a spillway, so that water's going to be going down, so it could be back down to that in three
Oh yeah,
days. But if
yeah.
but with the rain and stuff coming in, and if we get as much as we're going to be, yeah, the water's going to be up. So everybody will be shallow and fishing bush and flipping bushes.
Bushes. I remember that because I was thinking, oh yeah, last year we had this major rainstorm, like was it 10 days before the tournament, and everyone was in the bushes, and it was just coming down as the tournament was there, and you could see it was like 2 feet, 3 feet in the bushes. You could see the water line for that
Yep.
tournament.
Yep.
And then the year before it was low. But it
Yeah.
spiked up really early, but we didn't fish it till later. Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
fish during this time.
Yeah.
But it is showing more water in 25, right, than 24 for sure, right? Anyways, I just thought it was interesting. Just, we're still a
Yeah.
couple of weeks out and a lot can happen.
Yeah. And especially with the rain that's coming in, uh, as long as people say Rend is dirty. Well, I grew up fishing a dirty lake, and that's Lake Mattoon, and I called it clear when you can see 2 inches.
Everything's relative, right?
Yeah, so people. Matter of fact, I don't know. It was one of the co-anglers I had on Rend. They go, I'm fishing this, dirty water, and I'm like, what dirty water? Dirty water is almost brown. Um, so if it ain't chocolate milk, it's not dirty.
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep.
So
Uh-huh. And if you're a power fisherman and like fishing shallow, that's what you should like, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've always been told that on Rend Lake, if you think if you think you need to go shallow, you can't go shallow enough and still catch fish.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
If you think you're shallow fishing, you need to go shallower. Which I've seen it. I mean, if there's enough for that fish to be in and 6 to 8 inches water, he's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
So I haven't been down to Rend this early in the year. It's probably should still be pre-spawn, right?
well, and that's to me it should be. But if that water temperatures, if it got up into 50, say 53, and then only dropped down to 50, and even with this rain and doesn't get any off of that, there could be some spawning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing is, weather's going to dictate a lot between now and then.
Yeah. Now you got to start paying a little attention, or you got to be down there for practice this weekend, and then you got another week.
And see what the water temperature's like, and then see what the weather's doing from Monday to Friday. If it's been sunny and 70 mile an hour, and 70-degree weather, or around that 60 to 70 between Monday and Friday, that's going to raise that water temperature up. And if it is a little dirty and the sun's shining, it's going to warm up even more.
Yeah.
So, but this thing right here.
No, what you got there? Mm-hmm.
That's just in case that they're in the 3 to 5 foot.
Yeah.
You know how deep Rend is.
Yeah. That's stunner.
Huh?
Is that a stunner?
No, this is a Rapala.
They're jerk shatter, or is that new one they got?
It's the 110. This is actually the deep diver. This one will go down to about 11.
Yeah, it's got the big bill on it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like the yellow with the kind of a bluish purple on top and the clear on the side.
Yep. That's a beautiful color.
And then
you'll be selling them out of your truck at 6 a.m. for a discounted extorted price.
Yeah. Then here's the actual one. It's the shallow one. I mean, it's the.
Yeah, that's what I would think of in Rend. Yeah.
Yeah.
The normal one. Yeah. Yeah. Back when I was out at Lake of Ozarks and I saw at the local bake shop, I hadn't seen these before. There was a Vision 95. And I'm like, oh, it's co-angler. That's what I need. So I got that one when, the chartreuse bottom of that and threw that a bunch.
Yeah. And then my favorite would definitely be throwing on Rend and Shelbyville. I don't know how to be showing you this, but it's the green pumpkin and brown.
Yeah.
Salty tube.
Yep. I don't throw a tube enough. I mean, obviously when we were down on the Ohio River, Tennessee River, Paducah here, got, some good action down there, but I don't see too many guys throwing it at Shelbyville. Not too many guys up at Rend either that I've seen.
Yeah. They didn't throw it much on the Cumberland. Well, I call it the Cumberland River, but on Berkeley on the south end, everybody always threw jigs and soft plastic, the kinky beaver and stuff when they're flipping bushes and stuff. We found out that they you can still catch some, but we ended up switching to a tube and was catching probably 3 times as much with the tube.
Yeah, last year on Rend, we were in some dirty water it was shallow, and I'm like, you know what? I'm taking out a tube here because they're probably not seeing it, man. But they just weren't in the cove we were in at
Yeah,
all last
yeah,
year.
yeah. I never threw a tube on Rend. Um, I threw it some on Shelbyville practicing, but uh, I've got my other baits for that. And then it's a green
Oh yeah,
pumpkin with a little red flake,
yeah.
and then
Good old jig. I tell you, I've caught well, Ren, always the shaky head, but yeah, a lot of jig fish here. I've caught definitely the bigger fish I've caught on red was spinnerbait or a jig.
and on Rend, I can't catch on. I've caught them on the kinky beaver and the jerk bait, and then this little thing right here, Texas rig, no
Yep,
zoom crawl.
yep.
I couldn't buy a bite. Uh, well, Brad, it's kind of like this. It's a year later after my surgery, and it's worse now than what it was before.
Oh man, I know. When we were fishing, you were just recovering and said, "Man, it's not doing too well. I got to go
Yeah,
back and check in with the doc."
yeah, we've been working on it. Uh, well, I kind of he kept on telling me to do physical therapy, do more weights and stuff, and I said I can't. I said the knee won't let me. I said, the replacement, the knee itself, what he put in there is good. It's the tissue and the muscle and stuff around it that's not doing like it's supposed to do. I can't gain strength in it. So I can climb upstairs as long as I got a railing. Coming downstairs, I gotta go one step at a time. I can get on around on the boat a little bit better, but I got to make sure I hang on to the console.
Right.
Um, but
I saw I saw a little online thing where the guy on the step up to the front deck, he had a little mini 1.5 foot rail. I'm like, man, you could sell those. That's a product you could sell for sure.
yeah, yeah. Now is when I wish I had to do a console because I wouldn't have to worry about it. 'Cause I just
Yeah,
either side of it and go up. But
yeah.
yeah, and then the last time I was on here, this is what I was talking about. This is a man's jelly worm.
Oh, the famous man's jelly worm. That's right. Jerry was Yum had something like that. Jerry was throwing somewhere too.
Yeah, and it's got the flat bottom right there, as you can kind of see.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course it's rounded on top. But yeah, I like throwing it a lot. Just something different from what everybody else is throwing.
When you're heavily pressured, man,
Yeah,
even counterintuitive stuff sometimes just works because I think, right?
and because everybody's throwing little swim baits, you know, um, on the 1/8 ounce, for forward facing sonar. Well, that's the
Yep.
same thing that they're using on Rend, swimming around the treetops and out there and stuff. And it's like, okay. And then my other that I like that's out of the room is the brush hog.
Oh yeah, the
Uh,
famous.
and it seems to do okay. Now, yeah, everybody go out and get this one because this is the big one. I've not caught anything on these. But
Yeah.
but the mediums and the small, take them small, put a 1 ounce hook on there with a 1/8 ounce hook or weight. I don't know what's different. I mean, I guess because of the slower presentation, the small weight, and everything.
Yeah, less intimidating or yeah,
Yeah,
less work.
but I used to go big, and it worked for a while, especially on jigs. Everybody else was throwing, 3/8 to a half. I was throwing 3/4 and an ounce, flipping trees, flipping bushes, and just catching the smack out of them. And then all of a sudden, it's like I couldn't buy a bite on a that 3/4 ounce or 1 ounce jig because people thought I was nuts. They said, "Well, that's only a deep water." No, it was just something different. The way it
Yeah.
fell and everything in there. So
Yeah, falls faster. Gets more of a reaction bite with that
yeah,
fast fall.
yeah. So it was something different. So that's that's why I like going out pre-fishing because I'll get out an arsenal of stuff that that I know that the people that I know and know kind of what they're going to be throwing. I'll throw something different
Right.
because I know that especially the lakes up in Illinois. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just so pressured because and again, like I said, last time I was on here, is they're not being restocked, so they're counting on nature to restock it, and not all the time it works with the nature.
Right. And
So,
we just don't have the forage because we don't have grass. The
yeah,
reservoirs are getting older. We're losing, all the underwater structure, all the old laydowns and trees. And, Shelbyville, they came in and spent 12 million bucks on riprap, and they pulled all the decent trees that were on the bank off in back of the riprap, and we lost all of that late last year.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it
But the
really
good
got
thing,
tough later in the year.
yeah, but they're putting in um, artificial structure though.
Yeah, they
It's
are
in
dumping in
it's in the water,
cubes. Yep.
and and what I'm really glad to see is when uh, they're not just putting them up in the shallows where they're sticking out about a foot, and putting them up in that 2 or 3 foot of water and having them stick out a foot. So when the water comes up, they're just barely underneath the water. They're putting them out there into that 5 to 8 foot of water. So when the water does come up, at least there's some structure that's kind of deep, so where they feel safe whether the water's coming up and down. So I was really surprised and really glad that they was doing that.
Right.
Because crappie fishermen, they just worry about crappie fishermen. And they go back up in there and put them in the shallows they can because they know when the water comes up, that's where they'll go.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and I said they got a hybrid architecture where, crappie cubes, but they've added this bigger space on the bottom that they say bass like, and
mm-hmm.
they've adopted that design there too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't believe it's finally here. I mean, I can't believe I was out on Friday. I had to strip down the shorts and the t-shirt and flip flops, and I'm like, oh my god. But the wind was just howling, at 30
Yeah.
and 40 on the main lake,
Yeah.
but still it was 83 degrees or something. And I didn't care if I was catching a fish. I was getting a suntan and a windburn. It
Yeah.
just, first time taking my boat out and with all the hassles here. And, boy, I should make a video on that stuff I'm finding out or looking for help on this and that and wiring and or placement of stuff and odd size batteries. Guys, beware, lithium batteries are different sized according to what you get or whatnot. And
Yeah. And you're right, Eric. Yep. I'll be praying for clouds.
yeah, a little wind, 10, 15.
No. I don't need that. I just need about 2 to 3, just enough to put some ripple on there and some clouds. Eric knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you guys got a little secret, do you? Yeah, yeah. So let's see, what are your plans for you fishing just the Illini this year, Jim?
Yeah, I'm fishing a few. I'll fish a few of the USA Bassins down here.
Or which ones? Where at?
On they're called the CNO Barkley tournaments, and on the USA Basin they take out of Lick Creek, which is there by Dover. It's a good little, good. They do a fall, spring, and summer, or in a winter. I take that back. They do a fall, winter, spring, and summer. So
Wow,
they
they do
run.
4
Well,
completely independent circuits
Yes, and it's the same. It's the same CNO. It's called CNO Barkley division, and which is good because the ones that's wanting to qualify for the for their classic and the big fish tournament and everything, it gives them 4 tournaments to get all their points because the fall starts the new season.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I lost you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What's going on here?
I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yeah, I
You
can
can
hear
hear
you.
me, but you can't see me. Yeah. Okay.
I can hear you, but
Yeah.
I can't see you.
Yeah. Let me look in settings here. Huh. All right. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Um. Maybe we'll go into a different mode here. Nope, that's not going to do it. Let's try kicking it here. Well, no one wants to see my mug anyway here. It's trying to reconnect, it looks like.
Oh, there
There
you
we
go.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
And Mark,
disconnected it and reconnected it. Yeah.
and Mark, you're right. Mattoon is a good lake. It used to be really, really good. Then it kind of slacked off, and then it got really good again.
Yeah, Jerry was talking about the senior championship he got into last year. Both your boaters are what? Both your teammates are over 55, is it,
Yeah,
Jerry? Something like that. Yeah.
and actually, Geist. I think it's called Geist, and I'm not sure where it's at. And I want to say it's on the north end of Kentucky, but they're actually running a senior tournament in the USA Basin. So they're running like 5 schedule, and you have to be a senior to fish it. But I think it's Geist, Geist.
Yeah.
I seen that. I've been noticing them. I don't know if that's just something they're doing, once or twice a month, or if that's actually, a circuit. But yeah, since because the fall tournament, since it's after uh, September, see that starts the new year. So when they start in October, that starts this year will be the 26th season in October. So you'll fish the fall, which is usually late October, 1st of November. Then they'll end up fishing November and December, and then you're off January and February, and then they usually start up at the end of March, 1st of April for the spring, and then they roll right into the summer. So yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, because we can fish pretty much year round down here. So
Yeah, I'm jealous here. Brad's asking, how do you doing to get a USA Bass? And they got a web page. You pay, it was like $35 for a whole
yeah,
year, and you can fish in any division
yep.
across the USA for $35. And the tournaments were $80, and last year they said let's kick in another $10 to pay out a little bit more. I'm sure
And
they got a
actually that
guideline.
and actually that all depends on where you go. Cause see, like,
Right.
because it's supposed to be 60 is what it was supposed to be at, and most of them that I fish are $60 a team. Like the CNO, it's $60. So you pay your $35 or $30 membership fee, and then you show up to the ramp. $60 to get you into the tournament and big bass. Now, if you go over on the Kentucky side, they charge $100 over there.
Yeah.
And when I fished Shelbyville, they charged $100 up there. So it all depends, in Mill Creek. I think Mill Creek was still 60. The last time that a friend of mine fished it over there. So it all depends on where you go on what they want to do. All it does is increases the payout, but the
Right.
CNO
He kind
down
of
here.
phrased it as the side pot to say, hey, if he polled everybody and said, hey, do we want to do this to get a little more money in?
Yeah,
Because they have the national guideline, and I thought it was 80, maybe it was 60 or 20 then,
yeah,
but yeah. And it's
um,
not a co-angler thing, it's a team thing. That's a team
yeah,
entry. You can fish by yourself or you can
yeah,
have another guy. It's the same entry fee and the same
yeah.
deal.
And you're allowed 2 subs a year,
Yeah.
but they have to be they have to
A
be a
member.
member. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I did it a couple years ago with my brother-in-law and son-in-law, and they flip-flop, back and forth. My brother-in-law was my sub, and my son-in-law, since
yeah,
he lives closer, was the deal. But
yeah. It's
it's a
actually
good
pretty good.
deal. At Shelbyville, there was anywhere from 8 to 12 teams a tournament, nice, small, kind of intimate, not crazy at the boat ramp.
Yeah. Now the CNO, we down here now in the spring, we'll have anywhere between 20 to 40 boats. In the
Yeah,
summer,
down there, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in the summer we'll have 15 to 25, and then in the fall and the winters when we really drop off, we'll have anywhere between 7 to 12 boats.
Yeah.
But for $60, it's nice because because I got a I call her my sister, but her grandson, 17, he fishes with me, and he can't always fish. So when he can't fish, I fish by myself. But for $60, I mean,
You can do it.
yeah, yeah, and if you fish as a team, that's still only $60. It's cheap. You
Yeah.
have fun. You get some money back.
Yeah. And you're in the
It's a good time.
tournaments. It
Yeah,
puts a little more oomph as opposed to just out there pleasure fishing or something, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It gives you that competitive mode, puts you into that
Yeah.
competitive
Yeah.
mode without really getting into your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice way to jump in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, all right, Brad. Yeah, I still got your number.
Ready to jump in the boat anytime. 1-800. And I bet you
Yeah,
won't even
yeah,
have to hire him as a co-angler.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I liked about that because I can go anywhere that they have the USA Bass and fishing,
Yeah.
and with
For
the
the one
same
membership.
membership. With
Yeah.
the same membership, I can just go and fish whatever. Now, I always got to look to see what they charge, but most of them are, like I said, there's a few of them that gets up into that $100, but I understand. Um, but down here, within an hour drive of me, I probably got 10, 15 divisions I can fish.
Right. Just
Um,
Google USA Bass and it'll go to their site. I think it maybe was Facebook based before or something, but if you just Google it right now, you'll find it.
yeah,
Um, I think I did Shelbyville on and off for a couple years, and I think it was 6 tournaments a year, but one counts as a double, or it's double entry, double
yeah,
pay or
and
something.
and
And
that was Shelbyville because usually we fish. There's 5 tournaments, and then because you got to have at least 250 to qualify for the regional
points to
points.
qualify. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you got to
Did
have
you come up to show
250 points
the
to
regional?
qualify for the regional, and so that's the reason why they went with 5. Because if you fish 5 and you didn't catch any fish, you still got 50 points a tournament. So you fished one Division One season. You had your 250 to be able to qualify for the regional.
Even if you zeroed the whole time, that's right. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Well, yeah,
It's
because even if
50
you zero,
participation points.
yeah, 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 and that helps them out because they limit the regionals to 200 boats, and that just gives that person a chance to hey, I want to fish a regional, and man, I didn't do any good. Well, they still fish.
Right.
So no, it they have each division has at least 5 tournaments, at least 5, Matt. And then there are some divisions will have 4 different. It's 4 different divisions, even though it's the same. It's the CNO Barkley, like what I face is they've got a CNO Barkley Fall Division, a CNO Barkley Winter Division, CNO Barkley Spring Division, and then the Summer Division. So it's 4 different sets of tournaments, but it's the same people running it.
Basically the same people fishing them too, right?
Yeah, well, except for in the spring and in the summer, because you'll get guys that they're ready to fish and there's nothing going on, and then in the summer, if they're in between tournaments and stuff, they'll get in it. So that varies.
Yeah, it's a great entry-level tournament series.
Oh yeah. Mill Creek only
and then they're per lake. The Shelbyville division, at least here, was all Shelbyville. The Rend Lake was all Rend Lake. They got a Lake Sarah one. In fact, I wanted to do one last year, but the schedule didn't work out because I haven't been down there. And they've got another one on Kincaid, and Kincaid, I believe, has a fall or a winter, another season. When you get further south, you guys can have some more seasons than
Yeah. And like Mill Creek, they usually only have one, and they just call it the Mill Creek division because they'll have one like in the spring, and then they kind of put theirs almost like a club tournament, have one in the spring, one early summer, one summer, and then one late summer. They kind of spread them out because they just have the one division, the one. It's kind of awkward, but yeah, the one division. And most of them have, 2 or 3. They usually have at least a spring and a summer.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really easy going. You can can go online and pay with a credit card, and they'll send you your membership number and card in the mail. I just showed up one time and paid the guy early, and the tournaments you don't register. You just show up that day if you can, and you're in. And if not, it's no commitment. So it's a real lightweight deal. It's a nice deal. I mean, I've seen guys show up with someone was telling me someone had like a 14-foot John boat with like a 10 horsepower motor. They didn't have a live well, but they had a cooler with a battery powered pump because you got to have a live well, and it met the guidelines, and that's what they did.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good circuit. And you can win some money because the regionals, you can look around and you can fish multiple regions as long as you qualified. Because I fished the regional down on Rend, and then I came here and fished the regional on Kentucky. And because once you go into USA Bass, and when you go up there and go to the regionals, well, if you hit your state, it'll tell you. The ones that are bringing up all the regionals. And then you can see where the regionals are. Some of them only pay $1,000. Some of them pay $5,000 for first place. Like Rend, I think it was $5,000 if they got enough boaters. Kentucky Lake was $5,000. Old Hickory's $5,000. So that was kind of another interesting part, because if you got 250 points and you want to go and fish the regionals, you go and you pay, which they charge you a little bit more for the regional, $100, but for $5,000. And then if you place in the top 20%, you go for the main classic. And if you get in the lower, then you're in I call it the 10 classic.
Consolation
so
prize, huh?
Instead of winning $65,000, you only win $40,000.
Oh, Darn.
yeah, darn.
Still got to pay taxes on it.
yeah, yeah. And I could fish every Saturday and almost every Sunday down here in the USA Basin from spring until fall.
Oh yeah. The USA Bassets, were they on Sunday? I forgot.
Now, see, the ones over on Kentucky Lake down here, they have theirs on Sundays because they don't want to take away from the
The
ones
big
on Saturday
tournaments.
down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't want to take away from down here on Saturday, and a lot of them fish like BFLs and stuff like that.
Right.
So
Right.
they have theirs on Sunday, and they still draw, 15 to 30 boats. It's not a lot of boats, but it's still fun, and they do pay out more because it costs you $100 to fish those.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I was thinking of Illinois Team Trail here in Illinois used to fish on Sundays, so you could do the Saturday and the Sunday tournament. Actually, I just saw Sean posted after 24 years. He's hanging it up here, and that's a long, sad story, but that was a cool little circuit. They would fish Shelbyville, Rend, and they'd always start out on Lake of Egypt. That's how I got on Lake of Egypt. That's a nice little lake there.
What was that?
The Illinois Team Trail.
Oh
He
yeah,
hung it
yeah.
up, Sean.
I fished that years ago when Mike Black owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And yeah, and that's because the participation went down. I mean, he wasn't drawing that many boats.
Yeah, it trailed off. I mean, fishing's gotten so expensive, and that was a team circuit. It was $200. I did it 1 year, but I wasn't really competitive, so it just wasn't worth it. I mean, it was a nice experience, but yeah, I just wasn't good enough. I'll be honest. Matt's asking how many divisions. They've got all kinds all over here. You go to that website, just Google it, and you'll see.
Yeah. I'd hate to say how many divisions, but that's what I was looking up. They're in 20 states.
Yeah.
Ranging from Alabama to Wisconsin, Massachusetts, Kansas, Michigan, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida. I mean, there's 20 states that they're in, so I'd hate to say how many divisions. And like I said, the CNO Barkley in Tennessee, it's got 4 divisions of its own. And I would say just in Tennessee alone, there's probably 30, 40 divisions.
Hey, Old Hickory. I haven't fished Old Hickory there in the Cumberland. I kind of drove by and took it on a look on my little Nashville trip. How does that fish? You been down there?
Yeah, it can be stubborn.
It kind of looked like had that feel.
You can go over there and have the best day ever, and then go over there the very next day and not get a bite.
And yeah, zero.
yeah. But it's nice. It's another one. Well, I don't know because my directions are kind of to worry, but it was another one that it seemed like the way the river came in, it kind of flowed north. But I'm bad on my directions. I might be turned around. It might flow north to south, and it does. I'm sorry, it does. It flows. It comes in from the north, and then the dam's on the south end. But yeah, and it's deep. I mean, there's 50, 60 feet water. I've never seen it clear. And yeah, you can run up the river forever. And there's some good pockets off the river. But when I've been over there, it's always been early fall, pre-fishing and fishing the regional. So you can have good days and bad days.
So what is your favorite bass fishing lake in the United States?
Right now?
Yeah.
Can I go back of all time?
Sure.
All time it'd be Mattoon. Hands down.
Really? Because you
Hands
cut your
down.
teeth there?
That's where I cut my teeth there. It had good bass. It taught me everything because it was kind of the same way, heavy pressured. You had to really slow down. It taught me how to not be afraid to fish behind somebody and catch fish, and to do that little bit of different. Um, I fished Gunnersville. I've just not had the success because of the time of the year that I fished it. I'd really like to go down and really try, Gunnersville, or there in southern Tennessee.
Pickwick, Chickamauga.
No, Chickamauga, Chick.
Yeah. They've been turning out some big bags down there.
Yeah, I'd like to go down there and try that out. I've been to Florida. I mean, Florida was nice, and you catch some big fish. But I just feel like that if you catch it at the right time, anybody can go down there and catch big fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, to me, it's kind of like Kentucky Lake. I've been on there. I like it. I like Kentucky Lake, but I don't get to fish it as much because I'm not going out there and fighting them waves when it gets
Oh my
windy.
God. Yeah.
When it's nice, I love that lake. If the wind's only, 5 to 10 mile an hour, I love that lake. But if you get over 10 mile an hour, I hate that lake.
Yeah. What about east or west winds? I know north and south are bad because the lake goes north-south. What if it's east or west?
If it's out of the east, it's not really that bad. Out of the west, you've got a lot of big coves that's on the west. So when you come up,
yeah,
you get them big waves. Like Big Sandy, Jonathan Creek, and all them, they're so open, coming from the west, they get that west wind and it goes right out there into that open and stuff. So, yeah. So as far as my favorite, it'd probably be a toss up between there and Sarah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Sarah. I'm definitely going to take a road trip or a video trip or maybe hop in a USA Basin or something. I know Jacksonville's supposed to be really, really nice by Springfield. I've heard Mattoon was just a lot of catfish, but you're giving it a different story now. How big is Mattoon?
It's not very big because the
Maybe
causeway
500-600 acres, something like that, maybe.
Yeah, it's not very big. The causeway sits right in the middle of the lake, and that's where the ramp is. And it's a no wake going underneath the causeway, underneath the bridge to go to the other side. So it fishes, and it fishes small, but it's a small lake, And Lake Sarah's a small lake.
I think it's like 600.
I'd say Lake Sarah and Mattoon are probably real close to about the same size.
Yeah. That's what I said I was going to do this year. I'm like, okay, am I going to do the Basin? And I'm like, nah, for the video channel, I want to go to some of these like little off the beaten path kind of lakes here and just, go see some new water. It's always fun to go on a new lake you don't know and
Lake
just figure it out.
Lake Sarah has got a lot of grass, a lot of moss. A lot of docks because it's got a lot of houses around it. So all the coves has got dock. I'd say 90% of the coves have got docks in them. It's fairly deep water. Not, I'm not saying 50, 60, 70 feet, but 30 feet, 40 feet of water.
Right.
It's not a Rend.
Right.
Mill Creek is a really good lake. It's starting to show off, but it's only got a weird slot limit on it, but it's got a lot of grass in it.
Mill Creek Lake, or where is that?
Yeah, Mill Creek is about 20 miles east of Charleston.
Okay.
Because you got Charleston, you got Westfield, and then there's Mill Creek, and then actually the town that's on the other side of Mill Creek is, I think, Marshall, because I think Mill Creek is actually part of Marshall. But yeah,
Gotcha.
it's not that. I mean, Charleston's 35 minutes from Shelbyville.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just keep going east.
Yep, keep on going east, and it's not a wide lake. It looks more like a river because it's not really narrow, but compared to lakes, it to me it just felt like you're fishing kind of a big river. But the water, I mean, it's got a spillway, so it's not like it's flowing all the time. So,
right,
and it's deep, and it has. Back in the day, I know that at one time, I'd say probably early '90s, that it wasn't nothing to see 10 to 15 feet deep, crystal clear. It's not that
wow,
way anymore, but it used to be.
wow. Why? How come it's not clear anymore? What?
Between the
Lost its
fish and
vegetation.
they got rid of some of the wheat, some of the grass. They've got this other kind of grass in there, and I really don't call it grass. I call it more of a moss that grows
Yeah.
up.
Oh, I hate that slimy moss. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got some grass in it, but it doesn't have the grass in it that it used to. Oh yeah, you used to be able to look down in there in about 10 feet and just see that nice. I don't know what kind of grass it is, but up there you see the little holes. You flip in there and watch it go down there, and it's like going down in a well once it hit that hole, because you couldn't see once it hit that hole, and then thunk.
Yep. Love that feeling.
Yeah. But it's a good lake. They're showing off 5, 6, and 7 pounders consistently.
Wow. Huh.
In the spring and in the fall. But they got a weird slot limit, so there's not a whole lot of tournaments, because the tournaments over there is two. You know, if you as long as you got a partner, you can have 2 over 14. Yeah, you can have 2 over 14. So you got to have the other 3 is going to be under 14.
And bigger than what? 12?
Yeah, you can actually weigh in a 12-inch fish.
Yeah.
I think it's 15. Yeah, you can have 2 over 15 and 3 under 15.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
Egypt has some weird slot limits too.
Yeah, and on the Wednesday nighters and Saturdays and the USA Bassins, I mean, there's been times that 16 pounds. That's a pretty big. That's a pretty good bag when you only have 2 over 15.
Yeah.
That's
impressive.
So, yeah, and a lot of 14s. Taking it to win the tournament over there. So,
right.
But it's coming back. But that was another lake that that used to be my go-to lake if I was having problems hooking fish or catching fish, because I could
confidence
go there,
builder.
And yes, because you used to go over there. If you didn't catch 100 fish in a day, you was doing something wrong.
Wow.
Now they might have been 12 to 14 inches.
Yeah.
But now, nah. I mean, you can probably catch them when they're busting over there, and catch 30 or 40. When they're busting. But usually, if you go over and spend 8 hours, you're probably going to catch, 2 to 8. Just about like any other lake, until you kind of know it, know where to fish, and get on that.
Yeah.
But catching the bigger fish is definitely. How come?
All righty. Any more questions from the crowd here? James, why don't you, in case people didn't hear you the first time, go troll for some co-anglers looking for your boater buddies here. That's what we're trying to do here, and get the participation up in the online division.
I got two buddies, Pat Odell and Wayne Odell. If anybody's fished the Illinois division, they know them because they're usually up there getting a check. Are looking
really
for
tall and skinny. They're easy to recognize.
Yeah, they don't have a link for the tournaments for Illinois, the Illini division. So if anybody knows anybody that's looking for a boater, have them either get a hold of me or somehow, or
if they don't have your contact here, they can hit me, and I'll just send them right to you, and
or Brad,
you can figure it out.
If you know anybody who comes to you, just send them to Chris. Shout out to Chris, and Chris can get that information to him too. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what next week's going to bring.
Yeah, when you got to get out and practice, and how much practice you're going to be able to get out in?
Just a Saturday and probably a half a day Sunday. Mm-hmm. If it's not thunderstorms. If it's raining, I don't mind rain. But yeah, if it's going to be thunderstorms and stuff like that,
yeah, me too.
I'll probably get with Ron and say, no, we need to cancel, not even waste our money going up because, rain I don't mind.
Yeah, me neither.
Fish is already wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully catching up with you guys out there.
Absolutely. I'm going to spend, a little more time at the weigh-ins and saying hi to everybody. It's always cool, get everybody on video, catch the behind the scenes a little bit.
And that's the reason why, that's the big reason why I fish the Illini division. I know half the people, and it's like, going in there, and I got to meet, good guys. I met you last year, met Brad last year, met Eric last year,
yeah.
So
we got a crew now. We got the crew. Hey, we got a nickname now. Although it's an overused nickname, we'll have to come up with something a little snazzier.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this year and seeing what it takes. I'm gunning for a top 5.
All right. Well, you deserve it. You got the knowledge, and as long as you don't share too much, maybe you'll make it.
Hey, I just showed you some things. I didn't show you the secret stuff. It's the stuff I'll start off this weekend if I get to fish. But who knows what's going to happen?
Totally. And you could go practice this weekend. You could go kill them, and it could be vice versa. You could suck it up this. I find if I have a good practice, it's the kiss of death. It's just so hard to be consistent sometimes.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this: it's probably going to be either one on a Carolina rig or or not a Carolina rig, a Texas rig, or a swim jig. And when I say not the big swim jigs, the little swim jigs.
Yeah.
Or a spinner bait or a
I was going to throw spinner bait in there for sure this time of year.
Or
chatterbait, spinner bait,
chatterbait type or spinner bait. Yeah. I don't think a crankbait is going to be too much this time of year because it's early. But you never know.
Yeah.
Nothing will surprise me.
Yeah.
But
all righty. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. Special thanks to James for taking time out again here and sharing his experience and expertise. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said earlier, in case you're still on here, be taking a break next week here. I'll be down at Kentucky Lake getting some more video material and hopefully catching some fish here in the Toyota series. And then we'll have almost back-to-back here. I'll be going right to Rend Lake getting more video here. So it's been a little slow here lately. I got a little video from this weekend here and a couple of catches, but maybe some video on how to change batteries too. but we'll get to it, guys, here. And like always, any ideas on new videos or guests or topic, just hit me up here, and we'll get the crew back together, and we'll definitely have a fun recap of the week after Rend here. That should be a really good Monday nighter.
Yeah. Recapping me winning it.
I hope so. That would be awesome. That will be awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on here, and looking forward to catching up with everybody on the trail.
Yep, 2025 season. We've waited all winter. It is almost here for the Illini division.
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for coming on out and supporting the channel. Take care and good night, everybody.
All right.